You can have anything you want on the planet. There's not a girl I look at that I want that I can't have. Not one. That's my reality. There's not a car I can't have. There's not a house I can't buy. If I want to go to a yacht, if I want to go to Antarctica, there's nothing I can't have. Bam. Because I've decided to become this man. It's the same for absolutely every single one of you at home. If you want it, you can have it. If you're sitting there saying, oh, but I tried my best and I still didn't get it, you're lying. You didn't try your best. That is a fucking lie. The universe gives it to everybody who genuinely tries. And I know that to be a fact because this world's competitive. We're all competing against each other. And the majority of people don't try. Like I've achieved this amazing life and I've tried very, very hard. But it could have been harder. I mean, was it that hard? About 86% hard. It wasn't 100% hard. Why? Because the competition's zero. Everyone is a fucking loser. It's amazing to me. Everyone's a loser. I can say to somebody, listen, I'll make you a millionaire. Do this. Oh yeah, but the kids are home from school now. That's it. They're done. And then they'll sit and go, oh, I really wish I had some money. You are a loser. I will sit here on this podcast. People will listen to me for hours. And I will say, listen, I have hundreds of millions of dollars and I will teach you how to make money. CobraTate.com, I have a school, university designed specifically to teach you how to make money. I clearly know how to make money. You clearly like what I say. You obviously believe I'm intelligent and integral and I won't lie to you. And still, a whole bunch of people will sit there and go, yeah, anyway, next video. And then they'll say, can't afford a Ferrari, and wonder why. Like they'll be confused in their minds how they didn't end up getting what they want. Because you're a fucking loser. That's why. And the majority of people are losers. And this goes back to why, when we were saying earlier, how I know the elites view us. Because I'm from a council estate in Luton, a single parent household. And I've only been rich 10 years or so. And I despise losers. So imagine you're a billionaire born into a family, a lineage which has controlled Earth for hundreds of years. Imagine how much they despise us. You think they give a fuck about putting a bullet in me? You think they're gonna have any sleep at night missed? You think they give a solitary fuck about you missing your fucking parents' funeral because of the common cold? They don't give a solitary shit. Why would they? Because I already know how I feel when I listen to losers complain.
Well, there's a degree of hypocrisy, but I'm going to be hypocritical, and the reason for that is because I'm rich, and rich people are always welcome to go
say what you like, yeah.
Well, rich people, the world is elitist. It's the reality. If you're a wealthy person and you come into a country, they have no problem with you because you're wealthy and you're a net benefit to the economy. I also have no problem with Southeast Asians coming here. The actual comment I was making is that when I moved here 8 years ago, absolutely everybody was Romanian. There was no foreigners at all. I was the only foreigner I ever saw. Now there's a lot of foreigners coming from lots of different places. And the point I was making was actually this. I said it's interesting how, because Romania is part of the EU, but it's an Eastern European country, it's now being forced to adhere to EU doctrines in terms of opening their borders and allowing people to come in. I'm saying that's going to inevitably create conflict. It always does. There's going to be different ghettos or different areas or language barriers amongst police and people are trying to get arrested, so it ends in violence, whatever it's going to be. I'm saying that in Western countries, this was very gradual. It happened across 50, 60 years at the end of World War II and Windrush and all these things. Plus, we had a colonial interest in these countries. You could say to the British population, well, of course, people from Africa or Jamaica are coming here. We went there first. We had a colonial interest. They're also British. They're part of the empire. They're now coming here. Then that mind frame plus a slow process made people accept this. My point was, how this will all play out in Romania, a country that has no colonial interests, has never been to these places, has never had an empire, never been anywhere, and it's now happening so suddenly and so quickly and so instantly, not across 40 years, the local population might react violently, and it might be very visceral and clear to see how instantly they get angry. Let's say there was a high-profile rape, for example, against a Romanian woman from a migrant, because they're going to say, well, we don't want those people here, we've never been there, we don't have an empire, we have no interest in them, and they've all turned up in the last 20 minutes. What are we going to do about this? That was my question. It was a social commentary and it was a question, and it was going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I think being wrong, because, and I'm going to expand on this, if you're irrelevant globally, but you're right, you're still doing a very important job. There's a whole bunch of men in the world today right now who are irrelevant globally. They don't have names. Nobody knows who they are like they know who I am, who work a normal job like a garbage man, but they do a very important job They carry the garbage, which must be done. I have absolute respect for these people. They get up every day. It's hard work. They raise their family. They try and raise their kids. They try to be the man of their house. And they may be irrelevant globally, but they're doing the right thing. And that's more important than being well known and wrong, like a lot of these clowns we have in the world today. I don't think it's an act. Off camera, depending on the subject that's being discussed, I'll say the exact same things. I don't think it's an act at all. I don't have any fears because I understand that God has a plan for me and I'm going to fulfill his plan regardless of what it is. If I die tomorrow, I die tomorrow. I don't see the point in operating from a realm of fear. I actually think also the Matrix has done a fantastic job of proving I'm exactly the man I say I am. They've made a big mistake when they attempted to take me down with all of this garbage because they canceled all of my things online and it just made people think, why are they deleting this guy? Which made people look at my views and realize I'm actually saying a lot of things which are true. And then they realized that failed, so they decided to throw me in jail. And it's kind of interesting. I became globally well known for being the top G, for being the guy who's mentally strong and can do anything. So they throw me in a Romanian dungeon, which of course is pretty much most people's worst nightmare. And on my second or third day in there, I remember looking up to the sky and saying, thank you, God, for giving me this chance to prove I am the man they say I am. If I was still in jail right now, or if I was in jail for 5 years, I would have come out as big and intelligent and capable as a bigger beard, perhaps, but as capable as ever. And I would have come out and still performed. I would have sat down with Lucy from the BBC and ripped her apart just the same. That's who I am. I'm the top G, and they gave me a chance to prove it. So thank you very much, Matrix. None of this is an act. I'm absolutely built different from head to toe.
I've done everything. I've run so many different companies, and they've all changed all the time. And on CobraTate.com, in my Hustlers University, there's 100 lessons, and it's 100 stories and 100 lessons in business. And basically, I've got to a point now where I've run so many different kind of companies. It doesn't matter what company I try and run, I approach it exactly the same. I approach all of my businesses the same way. And that's what Hustlers University teaches you, which is my blueprint on how to start a business with nothing. Because I've never started a business with investment. Every single business I've started with basically zero.
Yeah, you should be able to start with nothing, right?
With nothing. The only ones I've invested money in is the casinos. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm already rich. So like, it's different to run a business when you're already rich than when you don't have money. It's different. But like one of the very simple philosophies inside the Hustlers University, because people will come to me and say, why should I buy that? And I say, look, it took me a long time to learn all these lessons and I lost a whole bunch of money to learn them. You can learn it the very easy way. But one of the simple lessons, I'll give you a very simple example, is people come to me and they say, oh, I want to run a jewelry business, for example. I want to run a jewelry store. So Tate, I need to borrow $200,000. And I say, why? And they say, oh, I need to get jewelry made. And when the jewelry's made, I need to get it imported. And then I need to do some marketing and then da-da-da-da. And I say, look, here's how I would run a jewelry company. I would get a website. I'd get pictures. I'd put the jewelry pictures on the website. And I'd do whatever I thought I was going to do to get sales in. My Instagram posts, whatever. And one of two things are going to happen. I'm going to get sales or I'm not. Now, if I get sales, then I don't have any stock because I didn't waste any money. But then you can send them an email, apologize, say there's a delay, blame COVID or blame something else, promise them a free gift.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then you can use money you've already brought in to get supply of jewelry and take money you've already earned and provide the product. The other way is, or the other thing happens, you put the website up and no one buys. Well, if you put the website up and no one buys, you're gonna be very happy you didn't spend 200 grand on fucking stock.
No risk.
So there's no need to spend the 200 grand on stock. There's no need for it. People have their whole mentality towards business the wrong way around. If you want to sell something, sell it first, buy it after. People don't understand. Like, I've run so many companies, I've started with zero just because I had a good idea and a way to market it. And that's usually enough. You don't need money to start companies.
Correct. So a bit of a jump. Yeah. Born in America, raised in England, and then thought, I started making some money. And when you start to make money, I don't know about America, probably not so much as in America, but in England, as soon as anyone gets money, all they talk about is going on holiday. They're like, oh, I can't wait to get money. I'm going to go to Spain. When I get money, I'm going to go to Thailand. When I get money, I'm going to go to Dubai. And everyone works in England. And then as soon as they have money to have fun, they go abroad.
Right.
So once I was rich, I was like, well, I don't need to go on holiday. I can just leave. No one likes it here, so let's just go.
Right.
So, and then I kind of ended up in Romania on accident. It's a long story, but I ended up here and now I'm here and I kind of like it. So that's how it worked out. Yeah, so I still want, when I moved from America to England, there was no chess infrastructure like there was in America. In America, there's chess in the schools and there's these big programs and blah, blah, blah. When I went to England, I was still quite young. I was about 11 and there was no chess in the schools. There was no chess infrastructure. So chess kind of fizzled out for me. I didn't have the support network I had in America and I didn't see a future career in it. So I wanted to do something else that was brutal. Chess is brutal.
It's brutality. Like, if you play the game, you understand how ruthless chess can be. And if I tried any other sport, it just didn't have that brutality. Like, I put a ball in a net. Who cares? Who cares? Like, the ball's in the net. Ooh, yeah. It's different. Like, chess, you can really hurt somebody mentally, and fighting, you get to hurt somebody for real. And like you said, it's a one-on-one matchup. 100% responsibility is on you. You have to be a perfectionist. There's no room for error because it only takes that one shot. And it just appealed to me for all the same reasons. I just guess I liked fucking people up, and that's how it went. I decided to use my fist instead of a chess piece. No, my father was a grandmaster, but he was also a big, strong guy. So my father was quite unique within the chess world. He was quite physically dominating, and for a chess player, it's unusual. So even when I won, when I was in the under 15s in Indiana, I won the state chess championship at 5 years old, the youngest to ever win it. And when I won it, my dad said to me, look, you need to take a month off chess and, go training, go play football. You're not going to grow up to be a geek. I was never on path to be a geek. We always understood the importance of physicality, and I was always raised to be physically capable. So it's not like there are some chess nerds, but I wasn't a chess nerd. I was a chess badass. So I was always ready to kick ass. So it wasn't a big shift for me in that regard, really.
Yeah, well, comedy's not allowed anymore, is it? Right? So comedy's not allowed, and sarcasm's not allowed, and you're not allowed to say anything that could possibly be misconstrued as something that it doesn't mean. Like, the world we're living in is just insane. And it's crazy because they truly assume people are more stupid than they are. I think most people are very well versed to understand when somebody's making a joke, and when something's sarcastic, and when somebody's taking out of context. And like, especially, you know what I feel like? I think it's like the English in me, because I'm half English, especially the English. That's all we do is take the piss. That's all we do is like say things and exaggerate things and make fun of each other. Americans are all like, oh my God, what did you just say? It's like, that's just our culture. It's how we are. I'm not saying I didn't mean a lot of the things I said, but it's certainly difficult now to live in the world I live in and that we live in, where absolutely everything can be used against you all of the time. I mean, I knew I'd be big, and I knew I had a message. I knew that people would pay attention to it. But the idea that I'd become the most famous man in the world, I didn't see. But I think the reason that's happened is because I've become an anti-hero. But to be a hero, you need to have an enemy. And my enemies have made themselves so visible. And I've also called for a very long time the moves my enemies were going to make. And they continue to prove me right. And when they prove me right, they prove their existence, right? If I sit there and say, the Matrix is after me and the Matrix is going to do this, and then it happens, well, then they prove their existence. So I am now in the middle of a battle, and battles are certainly entertaining. They've always been entertaining. And I'm not just an influencer. I'm a guy who's engrossed in a battle. And I think a lot of people find affinity in my message and understand that me fighting this war is in many ways fighting for all the men on earth. It could happen to anybody. So they've made me bigger and bigger, and it's kind of like the attempt to shrink me and destroy me has done the absolute opposite, and here I am. It's actually interesting because I get asked that question all the time, but there's certainly a cabal of people who have mass influence over the world who are not people we elect or know their names. I would never kill myself. I'll start by saying that. And I don't have a direct beef with these people. That's what's actually interesting. If you're a billionaire or you're an extremely important person from an extremely important family and you're born into this degree of power and wealth, you're going to wield it and you're going to use it. That's human nature, right? You can't expect somebody to have that kind of influence and not use it. Totally respect and understand that. But then I've become massively influential, and they see my influence as a counter to their narratives. So, as it's always been since the dawn of human time, when you have a counter narrative or a counter influence, you aim to destroy it. It's always been that way, right? The English and the Scottish, it's counter narratives, and you go to war. So I have a narrative which is countering their narratives that they control, and they feel like that I need to be punished for that. And they're massively influential and powerful, and now I find myself in the position I'm in with a Matrix attack. And unfortunately, the law is so complicated in most countries on Earth for a reason, right? They don't make the law like the 10 Commandments. Don't steal, don't kill. They don't make it simple. They make it extremely complicated and subjective and difficult to understand, and you need lawyers and all this. And the main reason for that is, one, so that certain people can get away with certain things, depending on what kind of lawyer you have. And two, so that it's subjective enough that it can be used as a weapon. The law can be weaponized. I would argue, even though you're probably one of the nicest men I've ever met, if they were to take the entire book of law and look at it and get legal experts in an attempt to hit you with crimes, they'll find crimes. This could be maybe, that could be maybe, this and his friend, that's a criminal group, and it's all subjective, and they just attack you. It's a weapon. It's a weapon that they use. The judicial system, unfortunately, is a weapon that is used to hurt people when they get to a certain level of influence. And I'm not the only one who's been through it. I knew it was coming. And now I'm fighting for my life. It's quite an interesting scenario. Me and my brother had a conversation when I was in Dubai about 2 weeks before I was arrested. I was sitting there with Tristan. We'd just been canceled, right? They deleted all our social medias, deleted all our bank accounts, deleted our Uber account, our Airbnb account, our Facebook, our Gmail. They delete you from everything at once in an attempt to unperson you, and that didn't work. We weren't unpersoned. They made heroes of us, and we became more famous than before. And I was sitting with Tristan in Dubai, and we're in this beautiful $40 million mansion, and we have a Bugatti outside and a McLaren outside, and business is going well, and Tristan turns up, he comes in the house, and there's like 5 beautiful girls, and he's like, oh yeah, just bring some chicks in, whatever, and the waiters are bringing us drinks, and we're smoking shisha and $500 cigars, and I'm sitting there, and I said, Tristan, everything's perfect. And he goes, yeah, I know. I said, we're fucked. We're fucked. He goes, why? What do you mean? I said, there's no way, life doesn't go this way, Tristan. I'm 36, right? There's no way at 36 I could have just made it, and it's fine. Something's gonna come. He's like, well, we'll be careful, none of us are going to die. We'll always roll as a team, all this stuff. We'll up the security and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. I just had this feeling. I just knew. Week later, I'm in a Romanian jail surrounded by cockroaches. So it's kind of like the balance and the yin and yang of life. I've always understood that whether it's God or the universe or whatever, it doesn't allow you to just climb. Whatever goes up must come down to a degree. And I knew that some kind of attack was coming. I didn't expect to get hit with this. Human trafficking is insane. It's an insane charge. I expected something else. But now that I've analyzed it and I've been through it, I understand they're trying to slander my name. You can't slander my name with a fucking tax charge. Nobody cares. They're trying to slander my name and make out that I'm a heinous, dangerous, bad person, because they've been trying to do that with the media for the last year. So that's what they're trying to do. And I find massive reassurance in the fact that nobody believes them. It kind of scares me that nobody believes them, because now what makes me wonder what they're going to try next. But also, it is nice when you're called a human trafficker by the Matrix to wake up and see 10,000 comments of everyone saying bollocks. It is nice to see that people don't believe it, because I would hate for people to actually believe that about me. And basically nobody does. In fact, I struggle to find anybody who does. If you actually look online underneath all these stupid headlines, nobody believes any of it, because everybody understands. And yeah, we've grown monumentally big, and now I feel like I have a huge responsibility, and my responsibility is to tell the truth and be a good person and make sure I say things in a way that they can't be misconstrued. But also now in this particular battle I'm in, I feel like I'm fighting for the rights of every single man on earth, because what they're doing to me has happened to loads of, like you said, famous, influential men, and even worse, not famous, not influential men. How many men are getting wrecked with this garbage that you never heard of? Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? Do you understand where I'm coming from? And you're just telling me about the prison time that people who lie are serving. That makes me feel good inside of my heart, because I believe that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice. It may take time, but in the end, people who lie will pay the price. I believe that. I believe in truth. And I'm very patient. And I know that justice will be done. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. And it's insane because, yeah, this is happening to me and the whole world knows about it. But how many men lose custody of their children because they're falsely accused of heinous things, beating the woman or molesting the kids or whatever, right? It's crazy. And yeah, women need protecting. We all agree on that. But I feel like it's a constant balance. The pendulum's constantly swinging, and we're trying to find the medium in which women are safe to go to the police and make genuine complaints, and that men must pay the price. But also it doesn't go too far and men can't live a life. And I feel like it's swung too far one way. And the bad thing about that is that in life, whenever you have a pendulum that swings too far one way, guess what happens? It swings too far back the other way. People are getting pissed off with this shit. Constant, never-ending lies about men being rapists. Eventually, it's going to swing back to the point where a woman who's genuinely hurt is going to go to the police and they're not going to care. And that's terrible. That's disgusting in and of itself. But then whose fault is that? That's the fault of all the women who keep lying. So we're in this situation. We're trying to find this happy medium. And it's insanity. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, if I wasn't world famous, I wouldn't be going through any of this garbage. But that's also the way it works, because we talk about the Matrix and how important people are in charge of the world. You can also look at the world in a far less interesting, more benign way. And I'll give you an example of that. You're a prosecutor. You have a job for the government. You're not particularly well paid. You do a job. And this guy stole a Mars bar. Okay, do the paperwork. This guy stole a Mars bar. This guy stole a car. This guy stole a car. Who? Oh, don't know. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate! Do you understand? There's a degree of, wow. Prosecutors, they get hard on for a famous rich guy. It doesn't even have to be from the tip top matrix. It can just be a prosecutor with a hard on because you're famous and you're rich. And it's interesting. So this entire battle, there's so much I cannot say as I was learning why this happened to me and why certain organizations and countries haven't saved me when they should have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, they say more money, more problems. To a degree, I guess that's true. But I think all men should be allowed to live in relative safety and live a life which is normal. The things they've accused me of, the human trafficking, which is obviously insane, but look what the BBC printed about me. The BBC said that 13 years ago, I was emotionally controlling to an anonymous girl. Let's analyze this as professionals. You're a man, I'm a man. All the men watching. If this person exists, which they don't, if this person is not imaginary, 13 years ago, I was emotionally controlling. What does that mean? Does that mean I said, no, I won't buy you a handbag? Does that mean I said, no, you can't go drinking with those guys in the club? Does that mean I said, no, you should have been nice to me on my birthday? What did I do? Dunno. Who is she? Dunno. And they're putting it all over the news and calling me a sex criminal? How do I defend myself against such abstract bullshit? It's garbage, but they'll do it to absolutely anybody. They could say the same shit to you or any other man watching this. They could say 10 years ago, you were emotionally controlling to an anonymous female. You are the enemy of the state.
Because this is what happens at a certain level of competence and power. You just get to a point where you're like, I'm tired of hearing your fucking excuses. That's bullshit. And you become, to a degree, yeah, cold and psychopathic. It's true. That's what happens. And I get it all the time. I get thousands of emails a day. Everyone I grew up with, people I know, I get it all the time. They'll message me, hey man, just unlucky. You are not unlucky. You are a lazy fucking loser. You are not unlucky. You're breathing. You're lucky. The unlucky ones are gone. You're alive and you are a lazy loser. So a loser is anybody who does not have everything they want at the drop of a hat. That's who I call a loser. Because I have absolutely everything I could ever possibly desire. And if I wanted something that I couldn't have, I guarantee you we could speak again in a few months and I fucking have it. I guarantee you. Because if I want something and I can't have it, I can't sleep. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. Going, inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times, everything on the news is a lie, I never stand a chance of ever getting rich, where's my pillow? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I go to bed at night as a teenager and think, I looked it up on the internet. It was a Honda Civic Type R. I wanted one. It was like 38,000 pounds. I had no money. I had less than 50 pounds in my bank account. Couldn't afford it. Then I looked up how much a Ferrari cost. 210,000 pounds. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. And he's like, yes, so? I'm like, no, not so. How? If I worked my job for 6 years and saved every penny, if I walked to work and didn't eat, I couldn't buy this car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I knew I had to find a way out. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant when there's people out here who get to do whatever the fuck they want. I couldn't tolerate it, and I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah. Back to the TV. Dummies, losers. And the thing about the world is, we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decided you want to be a loser, that's fantastic, because my cars need cleaning, my hotel room needs cleaning. I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess. Please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna fucking do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it fucking took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit anymore. But you wanna do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's gotta flip the fucking burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you fucking deserve it, because it's a decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the matrix. Tate.com. You can join. I'll teach you. But if you're going to sit there and go, nah, maybe this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars is trying to scam me out of 25 pounds. All right, smart ass. Have fun at McDonald's. Get fucked. I have no sympathy for you.
Can do it. And that's the way the world is. And before I comment particularly on that exact subject, that's exactly the way the world is right now. But you have powerful versus weak. But let's not confuse that with right and wrong. They can be very different things. I'm an innocent man who've done nothing wrong. But when 50 men with machine guns come here to my house and drag me out of my house, they're powerful, I'm weak, I have to go to jail. Even though I'm innocent, right? So let's not conflate the two issues. We can talk about the fact that colonialism has been perpetuated by extremely powerful countries, which would come, all of Europe, chopped up Africa. They'd come, they'd take all the natural resource, they'd enslave the populace. They were more powerful, they had gunpowder, they had more organized armies, and they did all of this because they were powerful and they were weak. There was a power vacuum, just as we discussed with religion and ideas, and they took control. That doesn't mean it was right. That doesn't mean the people who were being subjugated who deserved it. We can talk about good and bad, and we can talk about evil, and we can talk about righteousness, and then we can talk about the life we live here on earth and power structures. They're actually not very related. Sir, I know. Everyone knows. The charges against him are complete garbage. The cases against him are complete garbage, and they're doing it to try and stop him getting in power because they don't want him to be president, because they'd rather have a president who doesn't know what's going on, so they can just tell his advisor, here's X amount of million, pass this law. That's what they want. The shadow figures want to control the world, and they don't want to have an employee, which is what they'd see him as, just as I described in my imaginary company earlier, who's belligerent. They don't want to have somebody in charge who you can't buy or bribe or blackmail or scare. Trump is going to sit there and say, I have enough money, I'm too old to want more, and I care about my country, I'm going to do what's right for the country. I'm not going to do what's right for you, the big interests and the big money and the globalists. And that's why they're trying to take him down. It's absolutely and utterly, completely a matrix attack. And when I say it's important for the culture, because it is, because Trump is a masculine man in a world where being masculine is instantly bad for some reason. And it will be massively important for the culture, just as I've been a cultural icon, so is he. And so will he help push the culture in the positive direction of healthy masculinity. So it's extremely important for the culture, and also it will slow the rot. I don't believe it can stop. Truthfully, I don't believe he can stop the rot of Western nations. But he can slow it down, which has to be a good thing. Let's delay the sinking of the Titanic for 4 more years. Why not? And who's his serious competition? Who's going to run against Trump? Name someone competent running against Trump.